The case of the first Portuguese serial killer, Diogo Alves, is one of the most gruesome and fascinating criminal stories in Portugal's history. However, it is not just the murders that make this case intriguing, but what happened after his execution. The head of Diogo Alves was cut off and preserved in a jar filled with formalin, and it is now on display at the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Lisbon. Join the Knowledge Now community by subscribing to our channel and never stop learning, with new videos every week to expand your mind and broaden your horizons. Diogo Alves was born in 1810 in Galicia, Spain. When he was a child, his family moved to Portugal, and he grew up in the Alfama district of Lisbon. He was known for his daring and agility and used these skills to rob people on the Ponte 25 de Abril bridge, which connects Lisbon to the south bank of the Tagus River. The bridge was a notorious spot for thieves, and Diogo Alves became one of the most successful robbers. He would wait for his victims to cross the bridge, then attack them from behind, stealing their valuables and throwing them off the bridge. The height of the bridge was around 70 meters, so it was almost certain that the victim would die from the fall. In 1836, Diogo Alves was caught by the police and sentenced to hard labor in a prison in Africa. However, he managed to escape and return to Lisbon, where he continued his criminal activities. He also recruited accomplices to help him with his robberies and murders. In 1837, Diogo Alves and his gang murdered a wealthy family who lived near the bridge. They then robbed the house and threw the bodies off the bridge, making it look like a suicide. The police investigated the case, but they could not find any evidence linking Diogo Alves to the crime. Diogo Alves continued to commit crimes on the bridge, and the number of his victims increased. He was finally caught in 1840, after a failed robbery attempt, and sentenced to death by hanging. After his execution, the authorities decided to perform an autopsy on Diogo Alves' body. However, they also wanted to study his head to see if there was any physical abnormality that could explain his criminal behavior. The head was therefore cut off and sent to the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Lisbon. The anatomist who received the head, José Joaquim Gomes de Brito, studied it extensively and discovered that there was no physical abnormality that could explain Diogo Alves' behavior. However, he kept the head in a jar filled with formalin, and it remained on display at the faculty. Over the years, the jar with Diogo Alves' head became a popular attraction for medical students and visitors to the faculty. However, it also became a source of controversy, with some people arguing that it was unethical to keep the head on display. In recent years, there have been calls for the head to be buried, and in 2018, the University of Lisbon announced that it would finally grant Diogo Alves a proper burial. However, the head was not buried with the rest of the body, but rather in a separate grave at the São Francisco de Xavier Cemetery in Lisbon. The case of Diogo Alves and his preserved head raises questions about the ethics of using human remains for scientific study and public display. Some argue that it is a violation of the person's dignity and privacy, while others see it as an important source of information for medical research and historical study. Regardless of the controversy surrounding the case, the story of Diogo Alves and his crimes continues to fascinate people today, and his preserved head remains a macabre reminder of his dark legacy. The discovery of Diogo Alves' head in a jar in the Museum of Medicine in Lisbon has led to much speculation about why it was preserved in this way. Some theories suggest that the jar was used as a method of scientific study, while others suggest that it was simply a morbid curiosity. However, the most likely explanation is that the head was kept as a warning to others about the dangers of crime and the consequences of breaking the law. Diogo Alves was born in Galicia, Spain, in 1810, but he spent most of his life in Portugal. He worked as a servant for a wealthy family in Lisbon and was known for his charming personality and good looks. However, he had a dark side and was soon involved in criminal activities, including robbery and murder. Alves was known for his method of robbing people who were crossing the Alcântara Bridge, which spans the Tagus River in Lisbon. He would hide behind the bridge's pillars and attack unsuspecting victims, throwing them over the edge and into the river below. It is estimated that he killed more than 70 people in this way. Despite the large number of people he had killed, Alves managed to evade the authorities for many years. However, in 1839, he was finally caught and sentenced to death. He was hanged in the public square of Lisbon, and his body was taken to the Faculty of Medicine for dissection. At the time, the study of anatomy was an important part of medical education, and many bodies were donated to science for dissection. However, the bodies of executed criminals were also frequently used for this purpose, as they were readily available and often deemed unworthy of burial in consecrated ground. After Alves was hanged, his body was taken to the Faculty of Medicine, where it was dissected and studied. However, it was not until the head was removed that something unusual happened. Instead of being discarded, the head was preserved in a jar of formaldehyde and kept in the museum's collection. The preservation of Alves's head has led to much speculation about why it was kept. Some have suggested that it was used for scientific research, while others believe it was simply a morbid curiosity. However, the most likely explanation is that it was kept as a warning to others about the dangers of crime and the consequences of breaking the law. During the 19th century, crime rates in Portugal were high, and the authorities were keen to discourage criminal activities. One way of doing this was to use the bodies of executed criminals as a deterrent. The heads of executed criminals were often displayed in public places, such as town squares or city gates, as a warning to others. The preservation of Alves's head in a jar was likely part of this tradition. It would have been a powerful reminder of the consequences of breaking the law and would have served as a warning to others who were thinking of following in his footsteps. The fact that it was kept in a museum would have made it more accessible to a wider audience, further reinforcing its message. The jar containing Alves's head was eventually moved to the Museum of Medicine in Lisbon, where it remains to this day. The museum has a large collection of medical artifacts, including human remains, and is open to the public. However, the jar containing Alves's head is kept behind glass and is not open to public viewing. The preservation of Diogo Alves's head in a jar is a macabre reminder of the past and a warning to future generations about the dangers of crime. While the practice of displaying the heads of executed criminals in public may seem barbaric by today's standards, it was a common practice in the past and was seen as an effective way of deterring others from breaking the law. In conclusion, the story of Diogo Alves, the first Portuguese serial killer, is a chilling tale of a man who terrorized Lisbon in the early 1800s. His gruesome crimes and subsequent execution were certainly shocking, but what makes his story even more intriguing is the fact that his head ended up in a jar. While it may seem like a strange and macabre detail, the preservation of Diogo Alves' head in a jar was actually a common practice in the field of phrenology, which was popular during the 19th century. Phrenologists believed that the shape and size of a person's head could reveal their personality traits and even predict criminal tendencies. Today, Diogo Alves' head can still be seen on display at the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Lisbon, serving as a chilling reminder of the brutal crimes he committed over 2 centuries ago. In the end, while the story of Diogo Alves may be a dark and unsettling one, it also serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring impact that crimes can have on individuals and society as a whole. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.